in...
First of all, wait a minute. What's your name?
My name is Giuseppe Clarence Terribilini. Joseph Clarence Terribilini.
Where were you
Born
born?
February 3rd, 1922, about maybe 20 minutes after 1 in the afternoon on Eli Road in Petaluma. It was started out at the time, and it became Route 3, Box 114, then Route 3, Box 414, and finally 1546 Eli Road, to be exact. Anything else you want to know? My grandma, you're getting your daughter in there too, that's okay. Grandma Conti was present at the birthing, as was Dr. I can't think of his name. I remember. Anyway, Grandma was sort of a midwife, and the doctor came along to help. Grandma Conti did many, many, many midwifery jobs all over the country. She was much of a man for that particular thing. Mabel was outside, I believe, kept out from underfoot with my dad, and I think Uncle Brenda probably was there, so the other ones were there too. Many men. Does that cover that part pretty well?
Sounds good.
Okay.
What do you remember about your boyhood?
Well, I remember what they told me about my boyhood. One was a little anecdote about it. Mabel, shortly after I was born, it was in February, of course, February 3rd, I think I told you that. Anyway, there was quite a rushing stream going along East Washington Street, down where East Washington crosses Eli Road, etc., vice versa. And I understand that she was looking all over. They finally gave her a pillowcase. She was going to take me down and put me in a pillowcase and throw me into this rushing stream in order to DROWN me because of sibling rivalry.
Aunt Mabel? What?
Aunt Mabel.
I've heard this.
You've heard this before?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? That's something Mabel will deny it, I believe, because I don't think she's ever heard it, but I remember being told that. So, I'm very fortunate to be here, because if she'd carried that out, it would have been sort of nasty, I think.
What happened?
What happened? Nothing happened, apparently. She probably didn't carry through with her little design or plan. Anyway, to start with, I always had a trick stomach like I have right now. And you'll see a picture somewhere in the bunch of photographs we have of me standing in that little fancy French-looking chair in there with my hand over my tummy like this, and grimacing very badly because my stomach was bothering me at the time. So I think I had something built in that wasn't quite right. And it turned out that in order to keep living, I had to subsist on something other than what they were feeding me because it wouldn't work. I kept throwing it up, etc. Not thriving too well.
When did they find out?
Well,
When did they discover this?
they were talking to friends and neighbors about it. I guess they had this large smoke doesn't seem to thrive on whatever we're giving it to eat. So Mrs. Sartori lived on the Casa Grande Road in Petaluma. It was Archangel Sartori's wife, and her name I think was, let me think. Can't think what it was. Anyway, she was related to the Sartoris off the coast, cousins. She suggested to my folks that they feed me goat's milk. So she gave us a goat. And I went along finding goat's milk from then on. Of course, I don't remember this. But I'm told that goat's milk is what saved my life, or she did. Because I didn't be here. And I was sort of attached to the bottle when I was small. Wouldn't let go of it. I imagine I remember this.
This doesn't have to turn into a confession.
I believe I remember this. We'll be getting some good stuff on the TV. Of course, anyway, this bottle business was, they were always teasing me about this bottle and having to be attached to it and not wanting to give it up and so forth. And they were afraid my teeth would get crooked, which they subsequently did. Anyway, we had this, where the tank house was on the farm, it was an open frame water tank. It was above and it leaked water pretty well. And the quite a collection of frogs singing all the time in the evening, kind of a frog pond underneath there by the well. And so I decided that if the frogs could have my bottle, I would toss it to the frogs. I remember throwing it to the frogs under the building. But I also remember going back and getting it before it was dark that evening. Had to have the bottle Just couldn't quite do away with it. Another thing that bugged me were my long curls I had many years. I think up until maybe 4 or 5, I believe. They were finally chopped off, as you can see by some old pictures. Curly hair down to here. And let me think here. Childhood. Oh, well. Remember other things. Grandma Conti coming to stay with us every year for 2 weeks. She was quite heavy and she had asthma real bad. She used to smoke this asthma door snuff. You light it and you sniff it, like an asthma cigarette or something like that. And she was always complaining about her asthma and different things. She was always quite an excited person to have around, talk to us and everything. What else do I remember, Virginia?
What do you remember about school?
School, I remember being awfully concerned about doing well in school and being sure I got to bed by 8 o'clock every night or earlier so that I would be sure to wake up in time in the morning to go to school.
Tell about the ice cream situation.
What ice cream situation? It wasn't an ice cream situation. One of my earliest disappointments in life was going to getting around to it.
I'm just asking if you've had including it since
We're
you're.
still on
We're not up there yet.
We're still in
Before I went to school, I had another problem physically all the time. I used to have an ear, I think it was right ear, had a little water running out of it all the time. You hear about people not being dry for 10 years. Well, I had this water coming out behind my ear all the time and dribbling down here. So Grandma Terribilini took me to school to explain to the teacher about this, and not to worry, she saw this happening, And as it turned out, it was the last day of school that we went down to meet Miss Dahlman, who was going to be our teacher. Mabel had her already. She was the only teacher they had in that school of about 11 or 12 pupils. And so I went down to meet Miss Dahlman, and they all had a big ice cream party, which I guess it wouldn't take much for 10 or 12 kids, but there was a bowl sitting up on top of the towel rack in the entrance hall. That's an entry hall, and facing at the left-hand side was the boys' entry, and the right-hand side was the girls' entry. Kept boys and girls pretty much separated. And they had a playground out front. This school still exists down there now, Eli Road, but it's been converted to a church. Anyway, this bowl was sitting up on top of the towel. We had a metal towel box with little hand towels that pulled down to use to wash up. This bowl was up on top, and everybody else were collecting their plates of ice cream and everything. And so I was startled with a tantrum wanting some ice cream, and Miss Dahlman says, well, it's all gone. She took the bowl down and showed me it was all scraped out clean. The scoop was there, and no ice cream. The biggest disappointment of my life, I think, up to that point. Not getting ice cream.
That's it.
That's all it was. And anyway, I hear about my first love at school. First crush on a girl, a real girl. Okay, there was a gal named Mabel McKillop. She was a brunette. You've heard of the McKillops, sure. We lived down Eli Road, further down, about a mile from our place. She was a real good-looking gal, I thought. So we bought a box of Cracker Jacks. There was a ring in it. How old were you? I was first grade, 6 or 7. Anyway, I got this ring out of the box of Cracker Jacks and took it to school and gave it to her. And she was very proud of it, I thought. But her mother made her take it back and give it back to me. She did not want her to accept the ring. So I figured it was for ethnic reasons, perhaps. I wasn't sure. But that was sort of a crushing blow, too, to my ego.
Because you were Swiss?
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I never did quite forgive her mother for that. And
Maybe she thought you were too young.
possibly that could be. Anyway, subsequently, when we never did get the thing moving again, but maybe we don't married a Ken Torliet, which I think Dave has for a patient now, maybe you do. Anyway, they have since separated, but I've never seen her since. She's still around, I imagine. And she was kind of tall and brunette. Whatever. Anyway, let's see. Scholastically, at one point in school, I read the most books of anybody in the school. 1 year, and I got a bird book, and I used to see the bird book. It tells me me a book this winter, that winter. So just write down the title. I read this book in 20 minutes or longer or whatever. The one thing I never got out of this reading exercise was what do you call it? Thank you, Virginia. Reading comprehension of what I was reading. I could never tell you what a story was about. For instance, we had to do a book called Children's Progress, which is a pretty deep book. And that was later on in school. I believe that might have been even at St. Joseph's, I'm not sure. But I couldn't tell you now what Children's Progress was about. It was that. So I finally read a synopsis, a short synopsis in a pamphlet put out by someone that synopsis, and got that down to about 50 words, and that was it. I read that and I still don't know what it was about. Do you want to cut that while I regroup my thoughts?
That sounds, Okay, now tell us about trips and vacations.
Trips and vacations? Accidents? No, I don't know what trips. Today's Christmas Day, 1985, right? Well, earliest recollections I have of any trips are going to, on Christmas we'd always go to Grandma Conti's place, which was a special up on top of a hill, and it was quite a task getting in the 1926 Oldsmobile, which that was a long trip for that car, I think. And if the weather was real bad, we used to have to worry about which road we'd take. There were two ways to get there. One was right from Blake's Landing, right straight up the hill to the top of the mountain. And the other one was going down by another more distant route that we're sure the road would be okay that way. So we'd occasionally take a chance and go up by Blake's Landing, and it worked out all right. But there was no telephone in those days to find out about road conditions, so we'd have to just kind of play it by ear, I guess. Anyway, it was quite a trip. We'd leave home about maybe 10 o'clock in the morning or 9:30, and we'd get up there an hour and a half later. And make transportations that way. Usually all the cousins were there. And Flossie with Albert and Connie, and the Garzolis, I think, they were only 1929 is when they got married, so I guess the Garzolis weren't there. And other cousins were there at times. Anyway, Uncle Ulysses wasn't married yet, Uncle Brenda wasn't married yet, Uncle Dante wasn't married, Uncle Ed never did marry. So we had, at home, we had Aunt Elsie, which was a spinster, used the term, and Olga Conti wasn't married yet, because I said that. So all it was Aunt Flossie and my mom were the only girls, I think, in the village. All the boys were unmarried, and remained so. Except Uncle Ulysses, who got married in 1940. Anyway, that takes care of Christmas. And going up there, one of my earliest remembrances was their Christmas tree had candles on it. And they would usually light it on Christmas Day. That's the only time. Of course, they stood by with a bucket of water, I believe, so things wouldn't catch fire. And the candle holder would flip on just like a clothespin with a candle standing over there. And in this dining room, or sitting room where they had the Christmas tree, was about the coldest place in the house because they didn't have any central heat. They had wood heat. And the kitchen was always kept hot, kept warm, you know. And going in this cold room with the Christmas tree on, then they had a big radio in the corner, which had batteries under the table. All the wires coiled up going to that. And this huge horn, the radio was about 3 feet long, had about a dozen dials across it. About tune them all in, it would squeak. It was a regenerative set. Squeak and squawk. They finally get somebody talking, and they had this big horn on top, which looked like a big tulip, coming out. And that was the horn of the radio. And I always figured there was somebody inside that box or inside that horn. I'd get up there and try to figure out why or how or how could a guy be that small to be in there. Anyway, that was a lot of fun listening to that. We usually get a station from San Francisco, I mentioned, and play a little while. And they'd be worried about running their batteries down and having to recharge them and stuff, so we didn't play it very much. The other thing I remember we always used was stereoptic in Christmas too. Get out those cards that have double card, you know, you look for. No, I'm not a quick change artist. Last night the battery went down on the tape recorder, the video recorder, so I think at the time I was explaining the stereoptic in business here to Ryan or someone, and But this is one of the things we use in lieu of television as entertainment, going to Grandma Conti's place for Christmas. And it consisted of putting a card in here, and got a stack of cards here. Let's pick a card, any card. Here's one called a cool summer costume.
Keep talking.
And it fits on top of these little nail deals here in the front of this. The nails are in because the original parts broke, I guess, and one of my uncles probably put these nails on to hold this. You put this on and like that, and you look through here and work this thing back and forth until you get a single image. And it comes out in 3D. It looks very lifelike. Anyway, it's one of the main things we did for excitement in those days, back 50 years ago about or more. Cards on many, many subjects. There's a story on the back of each card. And some way or another we got these when Nelson passed away. I guess we picked them up out of what was there and took them home. Everybody's making grabs for different things at her house. So. Oops, got that. How did this come about? We talked about going up to Grandma Conti's place for Christmas. That was a place we go for Christmas every year in our 1926 Oldsmobile, and prior to that in the 1918 Chevrolet. And that was quite a trip going up there because of weather conditions that time of the year. And the whole family was usually gathered together, and usual big turkey dinner and so forth. Now, on Thanksgiving Day, the reason I'm talking about this is Phil asked me to talk about different places we went for trips and outings when I was a kid. Thanksgiving Day, we traditionally went up to Uncle Pete's place, which was in Valley Ford. And it was out past the Estero School and up over the hill right by the ocean. And there was only a small hill between his house and the ocean. It was always either fog-bound or very wet and damp in the wintertime. And getting up to that place also was quite a chore because the road was out at times, and he would come down with his team of horses and pull us out of the mud if we got stuck going over his hill. And that was kind of a primitive place. They had no electricity. Again, the big battery-operated radio, and Uncle Pete had rigged up a wind-powered generator to charge car batteries so he could run the radio from car batteries. He also wired his house with 6-volt light bulbs out of automobiles. So he did have electricity of the sort. And also he'd run this off this gas engine, this generator plant off this gas engine that he used to provide the vacuum for milking the cows. Albert and Connie were very small then. They were cousins. And Flossie's kids. And they were about, Connie was a couple years younger than I am, or 3 maybe, and Albert was 3 or 4 years younger than she was. So anyway, and on Easter Sunday, which was another major holiday, after Aunt Olga married Walter Garzoli, we'd go to Garzoli's house, to the other sister, which is Aunt Olga. They lived on Eastman Lane. And that was a close shot to get to because that was just east of west of Petaluma a little bit. No travel problems there. So each one of these trips was a chance to get together with the cousins and play with them and get acquainted and all this good stuff. And the traditional holiday of New Year's Day was always held at our house on the Eli Road. All the uncles that arrived, usually early, Uncle Anthony and Uncle Ed. They usually smelled of liquor because they had a few holiday cheer drinks, I guess, before that. I believe Uncle Anthony used to bring in always a present candy. I think it was, he'd bring a box of chocolate-covered cherries or something like that. And, incidentally, at Christmas we always got $1 from Grandma Conti, silver $1. And usually we'd go till about August before it broke that and started spending it and hang on to it. Once in a while, Uncle Andy come across with a few coins too for the kids. But I always enjoyed the smell of his body. I think he smoked a little bit and drank booze, and he always smelled a little bit like booze. Or something like that. Well, that seemed different, something you don't smell at home a lot. And Uncle Ed's the one that really used to drink a lot, I think.
Your parents didn't drink?
They drank just with dinner. Meals they drank. My mom didn't, but my dad did. About a jug of wine, about 10 usually. bottle of wine always around, and when the feed salesman come around to the place, he'd take them down the cellar and spend hours drinking and talking and discussing the price of feed, etc. Grandma would always be upset because she'd be out doing the work in the chickens, and Grandpa would be in there entertaining Harry Footer, another one of the feed salesmen that would come to the place. I never saw my dad get drunk or anything like that. And he'd smoke a cigar once a year, probably at Christmas or New Year's. One cigar. Uncle Ferendi used to smoke Virginia cheroots, and he'd chew them afterwards. Yuck. Another thing let's see, we've covered Christmas, New Year's, Easter. Oh, and during the summer sometimes we'd take a trip over to either Sebastopol or Santa Rosa. I believe it was Sebastopol then, or Bodega probably mostly, to see the Williamses, and those were the people that were my grandmother's cousin on the Randy side. And there'd be Dorothy and Frank and Williams. They lived on a ranch out of Bodega. Their dad was always kind of a sharecropper type person. Never owned his own place out there. He worked on the ranch for his dad and mother, and never did leave. And when he got married to his wife, they stayed on that ranch and worked for his folks. Never seemed to get ahead very far until they moved over to Santa Rosa and Hall Road. They finally bought a ranch over there. But Frank Williams' dad got Parkinson's disease, and he wasn't very active after that. He was pretty much laid up and so forth. But they got along okay. And John David Williams is the other cousin. Lived in Sebastopol. They lived in town all the time. And his dad passed away at the age of 49, I believe, from pneumonia. His name was Frank Williams. Or not Frank, it was Walter Williams. And J.D. and his sister Evelyn and their mom, Josie, lived quite near, I think it was High Street in Sebastopol, near the high school. And we used to enjoy going up there. Visit them at times, and of course they would come up to the Condi Ranch occasionally during the summer. We'd all meet together up there, or else they'd come to our house and take turns visiting back and forth. But the upshot of the thing is we never did stay away overnight or anything like that. We went away because my folks had to be home by 4 o'clock in the afternoon to feed the chickens. Always feed the chickens and pick up the eggs. So if we'd arrive somewhere around 11 o'clock in the morning, we had till about 3 to do our thing and then get home to be home in time. What else did you want to know, Phil?
You want to tell us about the train ride?
Oh, the train rides. I think early on when I was quite a bit younger, before we drive down to they used to have a once a year event in San Rafael, which was the Swiss picnic at California Park. Excuse me. California Park is now one of the busiest areas down there. It's just about where you take off that hill, where you take off to go to the temple, to go over the bridge, or go straight ahead to San Francisco. That used to be California Park, and that was a bunch of Italians and Swiss people get together there and meet old friends and everything. We had a merry-go-round set up, and we had picnic tables, and just under the trees, our friends bring their picnic lunch and so forth. And the train went right by the Northwestern Pacific train. So I do remember going there by train a couple of times.
Look into the can.
Pardon?
Look into the can.
Why?
That's what you're supposed to do.
What?
That's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, I was looking at other things.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I remember being on the train platform in Petaluma, which is still there. Right now it's just south of Grand Auto and Craig's. The old train depot is still there. The train would pull up and steam would be pouring out of the sides, and they'd blow the whistle, and I had my little short pants on. I remember wetting my pants more than once there as the train would blow its whistle and steam would shoot out, all that stuff. I jumped about 10 feet in the air, I guess. They used to chide me about that, which didn't do much for my ego, I don't think. I think I was expected to do it, so I'd do it automatically. Whatever train would come by. Anyway, we had a real good time down at California Park riding the merry-go-round, and I'd always envy the big kids who could reach up and grab the brass ring as they're riding the merry-go-round and stuff. And their sanitary facilities there for outhouses was very primitive. It consisted of, for the men's urinal, there were 2 boards nailed together like that, probably boards a lot, 1x8s. Slight pitch going that way, and I don't know where it went down there, but you'd go into this roped off area and you'd go in that, and it just went down and go somewhere. It went going down a creek or something, I don't know where it went. But I was kind of appalled at that, and on a hot summer day, it wasn't too appetizing down there. I think the old folks just wandered around, talking to each other, and they had a dance floor and stuff like that. Another picnic of great renown was the one we go to in Tamales every year. Sometime in the spring or summer, there'd be just this side of the town of Tamales was about a 10-acre plot. They had a grandstand there, which I assume was put up by A.F. Tomasini because there was a banner across the front of it that said A.F. Tomasini Hardware Company. That was the big hardware company in Pelham at the time on Kentucky Street. Anyway, we'd go there, and same way, and right across the street from that, across the road from that was Serini owned that. One of our cousins, Tamales, owned that piece of land over there, and once in a while, a pusher-type biplane, old-time airplane with a propeller in the back of the wing, would come in and land. I remember this one occasion where it hit a car rut or something and flipped over its nose. There was quite a bit of excitement for out there. Nobody was hurt. And they straightened right, and they righted the airplane up again, and it took off again. So it landed in this field. And there was mostly a case of all the kids running around and just playing and raising the dickens and doing whatever they wanted to do. And while the men folks, the women folks all watched the dancing going on at the dance hall or whatever they were doing there. It's just a time to get together and have a picnic. And let's see.
How did all this end up here?
They ended up here because someone started coming here, I believe, and started a ranch or bought a farm or worked for somebody. And like my dad came here because his brother had a ranch out on the coast and went to work for him for 5 or 6 years, saved some money, then went off and leased his own place or bought his own place, which was out at Salmon Creek, which is between Marshall and Point Reyes, a place they call Salmon Creek. And my dad's first farm ranch was out there, his own. And it was up in a very alpine type section. They called it a dairy ranch. They called it 3 Peaks because there were 3 distinct peaks, real sharp pointed mountains or like cones or something, real high. In fact, now there's a radar station out there or something with a big dish on it. It's all been developed by the Army and stuff like that. Anyway, this ranch in the 3 Peaks, you'd have to go. We'd go out there about once a year or two and go picking the shoy, which are hazelnuts. And also out there, back in these hazelnut bushes, way back among the oak trees, very well hidden was a huge barn, which was built during the days of Prohibition. And this fellow, Arnold Berry, and his brother and others were bootleggers out there. Arnold Berry was a very rich person, had a big white Cadillac back in the 20s. And he got caught up with somewhere by the feds, I guess, and he died broke in Bedlam about 1940s or something like that. But at one point in time, he became very, very rich from being a rum-letter bootlegger. They used to haul their sugar, and that's how the feds caught them. Big truckloads of sugar be going to this farm out there, back in my dad's ranch near there. And then they would have boats coming up to Malice Bay and at Blake's Landing and places to take the finished product into San Francisco route, trying to avoid the feds, you know. This was all during the heyday of before the Depression and during the bootlegging days. Anyway, going out and picking these hazelnuts was quite an event. Going around the hills and looking for deer and stuff like that. That's another trip we take about 4 or 5 times a year. We go somewhere. The rest of the time, we'd spend badgering our folks to go somewhere and do something or visit. Some of the best memories of childhood are during the evenings. My folks would visit other ethnic groups, like living down on Casa Grande Road or somewhere. There were other Italians. Had a bunch of kids, and we'd be out playing in the dark while the folks in the house visiting here on the front porch visiting. We'd be playing around and having a good time. Which age group are we in now, Phil? What do you prefer? What are you blushing about? I'm the one that should be turning bad, not you. Oh. One thing about it when I was a kid, I was worried about being skinny.
Were you?
Oh yes, I was the skinniest kid around. I wouldn't even catch the shadow twice. Still am, I guess. But anyway, I wouldn't drink milk because it was never refrigerated. You know, when it come out of the cow, it'd come out of the table and it's still warm and it tasted kind of yucky, I thought.
Were you allergic to it?
I may have been allergic to it and didn't know it. Possibility because it's early day goat milk situation. But anyway, in order to get me to drink milk, my mom, we bought a thermos bottle and we got down to where we didn't have a refrigerator, so we'd spring for a block of ice in the summertime every week or so. 50 cents, you get about a 50-pound block of ice. Still have the old ice box out here stored away in one of my vehicles. Pardon?
Of course.
Of course. Never throw anything away is my motto. Anyway, she put a little sugar in the milk and a little water and just had to thin it out. I tried to gag that down going to school with my sandwiches. I always envied the kids that had salami and butter, real butter in their sandwiches and salami. That was Lloyd's bowl. I had these on his because for some reason I guess they were rich and we were poor. We had homemade butter that tasted kind of rancid all the time. Used to make it at home by putting the milk out in pans and skimming off the cream and after it's a day or so, you know, putting it in a jar and shaking it or churning it and then churning. And so this didn't always taste too great. But Lloyd always had the store-bought butter and the salami. I envied that. I had bread and jelly sandwiches usually. Of course, we always ate good at home. We had a lot of chickens all the time and rabbits to eat. My main early days, I enjoyed going hunting, and although I felt guilty about killing things after I started going to catechism class, which says thou shalt not kill, I'd confess about killing a bird in a tree or something.
So you hunted the rabbits?
We used to hunt the rabbits.
Raised the rabbits.
We'd raise rabbits, and we also had some. Go off the 22 rifle and bang them off. One of my best possessions was a BB gun I got, I guess, when I was about 10 or 11, probably. They forestalled getting one until then. And then I really wanted a bicycle real bad. And must have said 5,000 Hail Marys to get the bicycle. It's the only way I knew how to do it at the time. But sure enough, one year before Christmas, I guess it was, we went down to Thomas Senior Hardware and paid $29 for a roll-fast bicycle. Second one in Petaluma. After I got this 5,000 Hail Mary bicycle for $29, Thomas Senior Hardware Company. It was a second balloon-tired bicycle in Petaluma. Chrome fenders, basket, and the whole shot on it. Started a whole new life.
New places to go.
New places to go, yeah. I would go to town average 3 times a day from home, which was quite a shot at breakneck speeds. It was just about all over. We're out several sets of tires. Just became a bicyclist. Went as far down on a trip, as far down to Sleepy Hollow area at one point in time. My best friend Ernie Howe at the time couldn't afford a bicycle, so we scrounged around in different places and found a bunch of parts and built one for him. I think we had 3 blowouts in his tires on the way to Sleepy Hollow area that time. 3 going and a couple coming back. Stopped along the road and patched them up. And I just had the skinny tires and the stick rim type where you glue them onto the wooden wheels and stuff. That's way back. And getting back about that period of time, I was self-conscious about 3 things. Being skinny, having crooked teeth, and wearing glasses. Wearing glasses was something that we talked about previously, maybe not. When I was in grammar school before this, I perceived I needed glasses because I couldn't see the blackboard unless I was in the front row. And also couldn't recognize people going down the street, across the street. And it was a whole new world opened up when I got these glasses. But kids used to tease me mercilessly at school about it. And so it was a middle of a hot day in June, we were in school, and the teacher sent me out to get some wood for the stove. And I couldn't figure why would she send me out to get some firewood out to the woodshed. So after the kids told me that she sent me out because they were given a lecture on not to tease people with glasses, and stuff like that, to knock it off. Of course, hardly there, but it worked out too well. And
so that many people didn't have glasses.
Very well. It was sort of rare. There were only 12 of us in the whole school, I believe, grades 1 through 6, 12 or 15 kids, and I was the only one for glasses. That school was quite an experience. We had the same teacher for 6 years, which gets to be quite a drag because she knows all about you. All your shortcomings and longcomings and whatever. And there's nothing new that you can pull off and get away with, I suppose.
Where was the school?
Payran School, corner of Eli and East Washington. underneath the big trees there.
Where that church is.
Yeah. In fact, I think the building, part of it is still there or converted over. School had, like I talked about, the two entranceways to it, and the bathrooms weren't in the school, they were in the building next to it, which also was the woodshed, et cetera, and stuff like that. Anyway, they have card parties at school every Friday nights. People in the countryside come around and play whist there. I don't think my mother ever played cards, but I'd go down to it, and Mabel might have gone a few times to play. And I'd usually get out and be the punch boy, go around with a punch and punch the different scores and the cards and stuff. You get a little prize or something like that, a door prize. It was very interesting. Of course, probably the reason I was going there was because I was interested in this girl at my age, about 12, I suppose.
Same one we talked about.
No, different one. We used to ride our bicycles and stuff and go trade stamps and things like that. Different things like that, you know. Anyway, we'll go to that right now. This bicycle thing was the first accident I had of any severity was with a bicycle. I was heading for Petaluma and the wind was blowing like about 60 and about halfway to town, right in front of the mail carrier's house. His name was Ruddy Hager. My feet rolled off the pedal and hit the ground, and the bicycle went up in the air, I suppose, and I went over the handlebars and hit my chin. There's a little mark still here right now, and I was rendered unconscious. This was probably a few months before I had polio, which I was 13 then, and maybe this had something to do with it, I don't know. Anyway, I had quite a cut there, and this mail carrier saw me, and he carried me on the bicycle home and suggested to my mom that I go to sleep and go to bed for the rest of the day. So I remember lying down and relaxing and resting for a few hours and getting back out again and doing it all over again. Prior to this time, every summer, April and I would take a vacation somewhere. We call it a vacation, but it was going somewhere for a week or 10 days. I usually go up to my grandmother's house up on top of the mountain, the hill rather, at Marshall, with Aunt Elsie and Uncle Fred and Uncle Lisses were there. And Olga first, she got married. My grandmother's house. Grandma Conti. She's my mother's mother. This was up at Marshall, the same place we go at Christmas time. And I enjoyed it there because the weather was much cooler than Petaluma. Petaluma was always hot and pretty hot and dry in the summertime. We'd be taking in the hay and stuff, working at that. And I like to avoid those as much as possible. Get up there in a nice, cool, foggy air, and I'd take the BB gun along and shoot birds and stuff all summer. Go out with Brendo and his 1914 Dodge. We'd run down to the town of Marshall, which consisted of one general store and some kind of Miwok Indians, I guess, lived down there or something like that by the bay. Or I'd walk down the hill with Aunt Elsie to gather the eggs. They kept the chickens a good distance from the house, and it was down a steep hill. They had the chicken houses down there by the creek with a bunch of eucalyptus trees. We could out and pack and gather the eggs, and walking back up the hill, you'd have to stop about a dozen times because very, very steep hill. We'd be carrying eggs in a bucket of,
Was it kind of cold for the chickens out there?
Not too bad. I think there was less wind down there too. That's probably the reason. And I remember there were a lot of skunks and different things getting the chickens all the time. But I'd walk down with her, we'd gather the eggs and feed the chickens, and that was her job, part of her job. And she was a bachelor girl all the time. And
How much older was Mabel? How much older is Mabel?
4 years, I believe.
You get along?
Oh yeah, okay.
Here's a picture of it.
This is the place where I was born.
And that's Mabel.
That's Mabel.
Grandma.
Yes. Grandma, my dad, and what's your grandfather, grandmother? I was either in the tummy there or in the house. I'm not sure which. Could have been a cold day when the photographer came around, and it shows some clouds. I don't know what's pregnant there or not. What to do. That's the old, before the tank house was built, that's the old window, that leaky tank on top. Then there was a little addition left of the house. They put in a bathroom with plumbing probably about that time. Anyway, dirt road out in front, of course, which remained a dirt road till probably 1933 or 4 or 5 maybe.
Did they buy the house as a ranch, or did they?
Yeah, 20 acres, 20, it's actually 30 acres to start with.
And the chicken houses were already there?
Oh no, they had built all that. The barn was there, I think, but Uncle Ed was a carpenter, he'd come out and he'd build chicken houses like that. I remember helping build about 4 or 5 chicken houses in there, some as long as 110 feet.
But the house was already there?
The house was there, yeah.
Picture of your lower left.
Up on the lower left? Yes. That shows Grandma Connie, 1922, December 25th, that was Christmas, we were up there. She's holding me and my sister Mabel's sitting next to her. That's at the porch of the old house there.
On the right?
On the right's my dad and holding me, and my mother was very, very thin, or quite a bit like Tammy is now, for some reason, and that's Mabel. And up on top is my grandmother Conti's mother and dad. She was at the party home. Well, this is my mom and dad, and I believe that's their wedding picture. I'm quite sure. I've always believed that's when they went to San Francisco and got married at the St. Peter's and Paul's Cathedral, I believe, down on Columbus Avenue, or near there. It's still there. The building is, I mean. I know. Now, what were you asking about age difference of my mom and dad?
Yes.
Yes, my dad was born in 1876, my mom was born in 1889. That makes a 13-year difference, correct? And they were dating as such, or sparking, for 7 years before they got married. That seems like a long time, but I imagine those days they only saw each other maybe once or twice a year. I'm not, the way travel was and all that. My dad, when they first met, my dad had a 1914 Chevrolet Irish Mail, they called it, I think, in those days. That was his first car, I believe. And the second was the 1918 Chevy, which he bought about the time they got married, I suppose. That was a 490, 4-cylinder, Kohler clutch, etc., which I learned how to work on cars on that particular car. Tore it all apart completely. Probably 1932 or 3. Put it back together.
Said something about she wore the pants in the pen.
Oh, I wouldn't say. Yes, she did. She seemed to, at least I got the impression that my mom ran things pretty much. She seemed to make all the decisions about buying and selling and doing whatever with the business, chicken business. And my dad always wanted to go back to Switzerland rather, to visit his sisters, but she kept convincing that he wasn't able to do so physically or financially to go, and afraid of would never let us get a tractor because the rough terrain would bounce you around and ruin your kidneys, etc., I think she was kind of a negative person in a lot of ways as far as progress goes. And my dad, of course, went along with it, I suppose. He had to. Sure, myself in my new overalls, I think I was about 10 or 11 years old, maybe 9 only. But anyway, it was one of the happier days. I still can smell the new smell of the new pants. I think I had some tennies on too. Let me take a close look here. Yeah, fairly new tennies. Didn't look so skinny. The pants were bought large, I think, so they would last longer, as you grow into them, I grow out of them. And that picture was taken on a Sunday afternoon in Santa Rosa, I believe, up at Larry and Ella Gambini's, which were my mother's cousins, and they had a little store down on South Bay Street. And we'd visit there once a year, I think. She was the other sister to the Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Well, they're both Williamses. Josie and Mary married 2 brothers. Anyway, we talked about that before. But anyway, we were visiting there, and this is the picture. Now, there's a picture of Mabel, my mother, and my dad, standing out in their front yard at home on Eli Road. Mabel was probably 13 or 14, and I guess I was 10, maybe. Whatever. And who was taking that picture. I know we didn't have a self-timer and a camera in those days. Somebody else was visiting. Probably, maybe the Grandies from Point Reyes were visiting us, and they held the camera for us. Took a picture. My dad was probably 60 years old in that picture. This is myself at, I would say, 13 or 14. Had hair slicked down and favorite coat, scarf on. And that's myself and our dog we had at the time. Let's see, the dog, what was his name? Boy, I just don't know about that dog. Yuska was always wanted a bicycle, but she never had a bicycle. That's my bicycle with the fat balloon tires that roll fast. And that's after I had my polio. I know that because I shot up when I was in bed that year. I was wearing a back brace there, and I think we're just holding it before we sold it. I think we sold it to the neighbors for $25 or 20 or something after I couldn't ride it anymore. And after that, of course, I got bicycles again after I got better. But anyway, Mabel always did want a bike, and she was probably 17 or 18 there, and I was probably 14 or so, and shot up lying in bed in a horizontal position. Skinny to get tall and skinny. And just standing out in the same spot in front of the house, facing towards the mountains. Yes, there's Joseph Clarence Terribilini at the age of 6 months. I think I had a little gastric enteritis or something there. Pain in the stomach anyway. They finally got me to quiet down and get the picture taken. Very concerned about something. Had my little girl-type shoes and girl-type dress on. All that good stuff, you know. Enough said about that.
It's just hand-me-downs. Maybe that's why they do it.
I don't know if they're hand-me-downs or not. Maybe hand-me-ups or something.
So you say holding your stomach was the story of your life.
Yeah, it was. That's uncomfortable stomach even then. Coming up for that image, you know.
Okay, what?
And down below there's a picture of Mabel Genevieve Terribilini, and she was probably 7 and I was probably 4, I guess, or 3 or 4. I was a little fatter there, I guess. Had my little knickers on, and that was taken up at Grandma Conti's in front of the blackberry bushes, or some kind of vines up there, or fence. And the long hair, of course, the capelli. Yeah, long hair. They didn't want to cut it. Had those curls for long, cut it. Okay, enough said about those, I guess. Time you want to know about now, Philip, since you're doing the interrogation here.
Tell me about polio.
What do you want to know about polio? Well, the onset was quite slow, I think. If you really want to know about it, one of the places we used to visit when I was a kid, this is leading up to it now, so I'm still on the subject, was we'd go to Uncle Jim Terribilini's place. He's the one that had 15 kids. I think there were about 12 boys and 3 girls. Anyway, they lived over in Middle Two Rock Road, and Frank Terribilini still lives in the same ranch over there. And I'd love to go there because we played with boys, and I was about 13 years old then, and they had a Model T Ford that the kids had free reign with, and we were driving around out that out in the field, having a gay old time, bouncing around a lot. And I wasn't feeling too great then, and my dad thought when I got home that it was because of jousting around and bouncing it and everything, I had a little backache and stuff like that. And about the same time, this was in November of 1935, and just about the same time, within a few days, this Elmer Martinelli's dad, out of Point Reyes, had died and went to his funeral. And that was a big barn burner funeral because he was a very popular person out there on the coast at Point Reyes Station. So we went up to Martinelli's ranch, and they had the wake there at the house, and then the body went down to the church in Point Palima, I guess it was, and went out to the cemetery. And all this time I was feeling very poorly. It was right around Armistice Day, about November 11th. I believe his funeral was on Armistice Day, or maybe the 12th even, the day after. At any rate, went to this funeral, and after that we went down to Olympia Grandy's house in Point Reyes Station. And they all got together there. They had a big get-together and a meal and a sort of a celebration after the funeral, you know. Everybody was drinking and carrying on, having a gay old time. And I felt quite sick there. I had a sore throat and a headache and back pains and all kinds of pains. And I think I barfed on the way home probably from Point Reyes because of the road and stuff like that over Red Hill, you know. Guess you remember Red Hill between Point Reyes and Pleasant. So anyway, the next day was November 13th. I remember being quite sick and staying in bed, and they're debating whether to call the doctor or not. And in our family, we didn't call the doctor when someone was practically dead, because it cost money and the doctor wouldn't come out. It was usually home remedies you used. So anyway, I remember trying to get out of bed, and I fell over because I couldn't move my right leg. It just sort of unlimped, and I just collapsed. So they did call the doctor. The doctor said, Dr. A.G. Lumsden came out, A. Gomez Lumsden. He was a one-eyed physician, cross-eyed kind of a guy. Anyway.
You were how old?
13. This November, 1935. November 13th. He came out and he told my dad, he says, well, it could be appendicitis because these symptoms of high fever and pain in the side and stuff like that. It could be appendicitis or it could be something else. So they were mulling it over out in the kitchen, and I was getting sicker and sicker, and had been barking and real painful and heated up and everything. Should we have me operated or not? They were trying to decide, and finally my dad signed the consent and gave consent to have me operated on. And so he carried me down the stairs, put me in the car, in the Oldsmobile, and drove to the hospital and had my operation that afternoon. I remember the sun was shining and coming through the window, and I remember going into the anesthetic, and before that I remember they took a spinal tap, made a test, a big long needle, and drew the spinal fluid out, and they tried to get a test made of it. And whether the test was inconclusive or not, they didn't dare wait because I may have had a ruptured appendix, which would have been a death sentence in those days. So they went ahead and took the appendix out. The appendix appeared normal. And in those days, you stayed 10 days in the hospital with appendicitis. And about the 4th or 5th day, I began to feel a little better, and I tried to sit up or get out of bed, and I couldn't do it. I had no abdominal muscles working, no back muscles, and my right leg was completely paralyzed. Nothing would move, so they called in a couple of doctors from San Francisco to consult. They came up and said, well, didn't know what it was, and finally they conceded that I had polio instead of appendicitis. And my folks always thought that perhaps the doctor taking the appendix out and cut a nerve back there somewhere, cut too deep or done something to take away this motion from the right leg, which I'm sure was not the case. But anyway, Dr. Lumsden finally decided that the best thing to do was go to UC Hospital, and for what purpose I don't know, and went down the hospital to a body cast to keep from moving. They put cast right down the right leg and all the way up the back, and put into that, and of course it took about a month for the pains to go away. After that you're just paralyzed, but for about a month you have pretty bad pain from it. And my dad and Uncle Jim were talking about something like this that happened in the old country, and they said that the treatment method over there was to work the muscles and apply heat, hot compresses and so forth, which they were right. And this other business of immobilizing your body wasn't the thing to do. It should have been the other way around. So I went down when the pain subsided. They said, well, go home for about 3 weeks or a month and wait till all the pain's come and you can come back for treatments. So then I went back down to the hospital and I stayed home over Christmas, I guess it was. Like November 11th, I came home a couple of weeks and remember how good it was to be coming home and seeing all the green grass growing finally, because when I left it was kind of gray and hadn't rained yet. The rains came, a lot of green grass, and it felt good to get home. And, while I was at the hospital, I was introduced to something new. It was cottage cheese and pineapple, which became a favorite dish. And before we never had pineapple, except an upside down cake, I guess. Eating cottage cheese was something new. Anyway, my dad and Uncle Jim wanted to try this other treatment. And the doctor said, no way. And although I did try to get up a couple of times and fell on my face more or less trying to get out of bed and trying to pull myself up. And the thing then was to be concerned about whether I would walk again or not. And the consensus was about 50-50, yes or no. And so I went back down for treatments and stayed at UC Hospital for almost a year. And while there, I had a lot of new experiences. Had a bed near the west wing. It was the 3rd floor. Could watch the Golden Gate Bridge in progress. The towers went up, etc. But every day we'd have a couple of sessions out at the pool, which was warm water, and we had this physiotherapist that lived in Petaluma that was a resident down there. this heart. She would take me in this rubber raft in this big swimming pool about the size of yours at home field. And we'd concentrate on moving a toe or a muscle and just concentrate on that one thing, and finally got a little bit of motion in the feet. Finally got into a back brace and was able to stand up in the water and walk around and learn how to swim and get some motion back. And pretty soon it was decided that things were working quite well and keep exercising.
Was there any treatment in the hospital?
Other than that,
For polio, other than just
no, just
observation?
just observation the first time. The second time was the water treatment, the hydrotherapy treatment. They had a crank thing, you'd be on a flat board, and this rail thing would go out, and they'd let the crank down, you'd do that into the water that way, and then you'd float off from this rubber mat, and this gallon of water would push the mat down, now more water kind of cover your legs and stuff, and then she'd have you move a muscle at a time, concentrating on moving your one toe or just one thing at a time, and then she'd work the muscles back and forth. That was all it was. In the meantime, the muscles were atrophying pretty bad because they didn't have they should have been the other treatment, like the Sister Kitty treatment, which later came out in 1955 or thereabouts. They would have been the best one to use, but they didn't want to stretch your muscles at the time. They wanted to keep you immobilized. It should have been the other way around. They should have started moving these muscles immediately to get you back into action. But anyway, that's the upshot of that. I got out and I was able to walk pretty well, and it kept me from being an altar boy at church, though, because I couldn't genuflect anymore or kneel down without hanging on to something. Otherwise, I'd already learned the Latin for it previously before going there. And also, while in the hospital, I got introduced to the idea that maybe something else in the Catholic Church. There was a Miss Rooney there that was an ex-Catholic, I guess, and she used to expound about heaven and hell and purgatory and sin and stuff like that. Planted a few seeds in my mind that may have been something different. Of course, Uncle Pete Morrow had done this previously by poo-pooing the Catholic Church every chance he'd get. He would knock it pretty much. Any church or any religion was flexibility to him. I kind of admired him for some reason, I don't know why. I was always afraid of him somewhat. He's kind of a gruff person, I thought. Anyway, came home and we sold the bicycle, and I'd been taking courses while in the hospital, high school courses, in order to keep up with my work. Previous to this polio thing, I'd been quite active. I think I got run down because at school I was on the traffic patrol. I'd drive the bicycle early in the morning in the frost and get down there and about 7:45 with the signs out and put on the uniform, go out and control the traffic and stuff in school, stop for the kids to cross and stuff like that, and working up part of this older boy trip. And every year we'd have school plays, and at graduations, I'd have war being in those, and I tried to avoid it. And I tried to be number one in the class all the time. Anyway, I kept up on my algebra. There was a resident, a student teacher would come by and give me classes in math and algebra and geometry and stuff like that, so I could stay with my class. I did graduate in 1940 with the class, in spite of being out about a year. Let's see. What can I say? It's quite a change in lifestyle after you couldn't run around and ride your bike at breakneck speeds and do all that athletic stuff I used to do before.
So you just gradually got back into it?
I got back into riding a bicycle, okay, and then I had to change my whole lifestyle. I was going to go to work for Clarence Terribilini in his garage as a mechanic, but this polio thing precluded that, so I got interested in electronics when I was in the hospital. Somebody from over in Oakland gave me a crystal set, and I started studying about that, playing with it. Had the wire hooked to the radiator, steam radiator next to the bed, pickup stations at night, and listen to the earphones. So I started building them when I got home, built and sold a few radios, and started saving some bucks and got interested in stuff like that. But before that, I'd been building things all the time. I helped my uncle Ed build the chicken houses, my dad worked on the farm, and always carpentry and building, and tearing cars apart and stuff like that. And interested in electricity and fantasizing about being Alexander Graham Bell or Tom Edison or Lindbergh and stuff like that, you know. I do remember Charles Lindbergh although I'm quite sure I remember it was 1927, to do the invasion, he arrived in France. A few things like that. I also got interested in stamp collecting when I was in the hospital with polio, because Franklin D. Roosevelt was the head stamp collector in the country at that time. He was a philatelist, and we had a window washer that was quite a stamp collector. He was collecting all these craft supplement stamps and the inverted airline stamps and whatever. His name was George, and he was a window washer. I had a worldwide collection when I got after I was in the hospital almost a year. And I sold it to a doctor for $11. It seemed like a lot of money at the time, and I went strictly United States stamps at that time. Sold everything except my U.S. stamps. And your camera's dropping, Phil. Are you doing that? Try to tell me something. I guess you're not turning off.
People out there want to know what you're straightening up.
Why have you?
What you've been eating, what you've been doing with your
Over
kids
here?
this whole time, yeah.
I'm picking up bits on the table, little bits of lint and bits of peanuts from yesterday's party, and this is the day after Christmas, 1985, you know. So we got to keep things good here.
You want to tell us about going into the service?
Oh, that's a really great story. I was working my first job. Let me think a minute. After I got interested in electronics and radio and everything. Never did tell you about the first radio we bought, did I?
Okay, tell us about that.
That was in 1928 or 29, I guess, the middle of the Depression. My folks decided they wanted a radio, so they contacted, I don't know why or how, but Mr. Spielbauer came by and he had a Steinmeier radio, which was on a stand with a speaker underneath it, more or less. I still got the speaker cabinet, but I don't have a radio anymore. I sold that to Frank Williams up at Santa Rosa for his farm. And this was quite a radio that went haywire one time, but quit working. So a fellow named Paul Zastro came out with him to Mr. Spielbauer, worked on battery radios, only didn't want to convert them to electricity. This was afraid of being electrocuted. So Paul Zastro was new in the business, and he came with him, and they took the radio box along, and this now is about 14, I guess. Now it's, yeah, I guess it's 14. Took the radio box with them. He returned to Paul Zastro. Hey, someday I'd like to get into this business or go to work for somebody. So when I graduated from high school, I went down and talked to him for a minute, and he didn't know about it. He was going into business at Kentucky Street on his own at that time. So I decided to go out and go to work for him. About the time that picture was made, if that's in your books. And so I'll never forget the first day. He said, come on in and I'll pay you $15 a month and teach you everything I know about the business. I thought, well, this isn't too bad. You know. Before that, I wanted to go and be a dentist. I checked into getting into UC. I passed the entrance exam for English A. Wouldn't have to take more than English. I went to school there. Had good enough marks, I guess, but I was unsure of myself on the math and so forth. And Dr. John Bin had 1 year of dental school in already. He was ahead of me a year, or school at UC. And he said, come on down and they'll let you work if you can't afford the tuition. You can work in the cafeteria and stuff like that. They'll place room and board. I thought, well, my physical condition, I wasn't able to do that too well. My folks said they couldn't afford to send me or didn't want to send me to school. So I might have ended up not being a dentist. But how well I could do that with my physical condition, I don't know, standing up and all that. But probably would have worked out. Anyway, I thought, well, I'll take a year off and work at this radio thing and see how it goes. And so I worked for Paul Zastro about 3 or 4 months at 15 a month. And pretty soon I got to where I knew how to do it all on my own pretty much. So yeah, I got to have a raise. So they raised me to about $60 a month, I guess. Everybody all of a sudden was going to, I remember when Carl Harper was no longer coming out of church Sunday morning. It was a big to do about the balls falling from Carl Harper. So I stayed with Zastro about a year and decided everybody else had done it in the Army, I wanted to go there too. So I went down and enlisted. I didn't think they'd take me, but sure enough, I was warm, and they were taking almost anybody in those days. So I got in all right. First day I flunked because of high blood pressure, because I was excited or something. Went down again in a couple of days and passed okay, and went off to Monterey for basic training. No, first I went over to the College of the Pacific in Stockton. I've been, no, I beg your pardon, went to Monterey first to 6 weeks of basic training.
So you were pretty anxious about getting in?
I wanted to get in, yes, just because everybody else was doing it. I didn't think of the consequences or anything like that. But I went over to Monterey for 6 weeks and took the basic training, passed okay, and then several were picked out because of different tests they made to join the ASTP, which is Army Specialized Training Program. They're trying to develop an out-of-bound. They wanted electronics people and people who could speak a second languages, etc., like that. So we got sent up to college at Pacific in Stockton for that was backwards. So I got to Stockton first. So I guess I'm basic first. Up there for college course in basic math and stuff like that, and chemistry and physics. Then I went down to San Jose State College for the same thing, and then got shipped back to the University of Utah for the same thing. And after the University of Utah, we came back to Camp Kohler in Sacramento for more training. And there I met Florence Weaver, and then we, I think I've got this whole chronology wrong, but anyway, I came back to Presidio and I worked there in the teletype room in the training field section until I got out. So that's a picture of guess who. After polio and all that, getting in the Army and having all that basic training wasn't all that great. Didn't do my back any good to carry all that weight around either. More of the same. Sort of amazing, I think, that I got that far. And
how did you like the service?
it was good up to a point. A little uncomfortable. You know, wasn't what it's all cracked up to be. Met a lot of nice guys and some real creeps. What do we have there? Phil's changing pictures, right? That's an early family reunion when you're focusing on that stuff. Oh, there we are, back in service again. That was taken in, could be at Salt Lake, I don't know where. Hard to tell. First thing that happened when I got back to the University of Utah was I caught a case of scarlet fever. Thought it was due to sunburn out by the beach, went out there for one day. Here I went home again on leave. 1942, 3 maybe. But of course, the house.
What about scarlet fever?
Caught a case of scarlet fever. It was the first one in that whole barracks to have it. In about 3 weeks, 400 people had it. It's an epidemic of it. Being the first one to get it, I went up to the Port Douglas hospital and gave blood to make some serum for antibodies for the rest of it. That was the worst sick I've ever been in my life. Yucko. Super. They were trying out sulfa drugs. I took a bunch of those, which may have been not too great. Okay, now what's the next one? That was in the hospital in San Francisco. You remember him? Right back in Chicago. I was very impressed by it. Still am.
And then in Utah?
In Utah. Well, in Utah, I met a fellow named Rodney. Wasn't too impressed by it. It was morning. He had unique ways of cheating in our tests. We were taking our tests in school. He had things written on the toe of his shoe, cut of his shirt, various places how to pass the test. And he claimed that President Grant, that there was only one more president of the church after President Grant, at the end of the world was coming. He read that or found out about it somewhere. Another fellow was proselyting. His name was Darwin Alsop. And we looked him up one time when we visited Utah at 6 then. And he'd apostatized, and he was a chiropractor down on South State Street. And I told him I joined the church, and he just laughed. Boy, you sure got suckered into something. He had nothing good to say about it. So, enough of that, I guess.
So you were at, how long were you at the University of Utah?
I guess probably it was snowing when I got there. No, it was hot summer when I got there. It snowed probably 6 or 8 months or so.
That was just for training?
For training, we had Army training, like Nagasaki or whatever it was. The A-bomb was successful at that time. I guess they didn't use it. Of course, they disbanded because they were sending guys overseas. And I wasn't fit for going overseas, so they were not enough to proceed along with other 4F types like myself. I should have been in the Army in the first place.
So how long were you in the service?
Oh, going on 3 years, I guess, something like that. 41, 42, 45. Well, when I got out, I went back to work for Paul's Astronaut. Much better wages, of course. Stayed there about a year and a half or two, and again, came out, started had to grow a branch in front of the radio. And I bought that business from him, and that's been our history ever since. Hey, look at that. My goodness. I like my desk, too, man. It's nice. I never used to be there.
Tell us about starting a radio star.
Well, I didn't start it really. Paul's Astro did, and that brought his interest out. It was, TV was coming into action then, and as you know, it's gone day and night work. Don't know why. I worked hard instead of smart, I guess. But it was developing all the time. Making pretty good money at it. Trying to keep things going right. While I was working at Paul's Astros, I met Virginia, of course.
Virginia who?
Virginia,
Virginia, of course.
of course. And we're still together yet. Let's see.
Tell us about that.
Oh, what? Meeting her?
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you meet her? I was working at Paul's Astros place, 135 Kentucky Street, and next door to us, a fellow named Sam's Wood had an office. He wanted me, Paul said, go over to Sam's and pick up this electrical appliance, whatever it was he wanted repaired. And while at Sam's, Sam said, hey, I've got a couple of tickets to the barbecue, can't go to tonight. Would you want them? I said, well, sure, they're free. And I noticed it was Mormon Church had a barbecue up at Doyle Park in Santa Rosa. This was 1945, I guess, 46 maybe. Anyway, I accepted him, so I got a hold of Cliff Field, who was working for Paul's Astro part-time. He was in the service at Two Rock Ranch. So I said, Cliff, I'm going to go to a barbecue. I know you enjoy to eat. So we drove up in my little 1934 Chevy convertible Cabriolet with the red upholstery and the yellow body, black side of the tires, all that good stuff. And while I was there, I spotted Virginia. I guess I said to her, haven't I seen you somewhere before? I had seen her because she worked over at Dave King's office across the street next to Thomasini Hardware. The fact of the matter is, I'd seen her going to church. I'd be sitting outside the Catholic church in her car, waiting for Grandma Terribilini to come out. And Virginia would be walking to her church down the women's clubhouse at Luma. About that time every Sunday morning, I noticed she'd be carrying her sticks with her, walking along, and I noticed her, never talked to her, anything like that. But there she was at this party, and so we got talking. I said, can I give you a ride home? She said she had a good bus home or something. So we took Cliff home and then gave her a ride home. We got to talking, and ever since it's been that way. And every Sunday since then, I've been going with her somewhere to church, I guess. First was Germania Hall in Santa Rosa and different places. Very impressed and got a long time, I think. And then we went up. What picture's that? It's getting bright, I guess. Whatever happened. So then we got going together for about a year, and I think we joined the church about a year after we were going together for about a year. And I was in the church about a year, and we got blessed, and we got married. At Ellen's house on Keokuk Street in Petaluma. And that is the wedding picture there. That's before we were taken off the honeymoon, I believe. And that morning early, we got our 1936 Chevrolet in the upper picture there. Washed, cleaned up for the honeymoon, and the neighborhood kids are about 18 of them, I guess, up there. Decided to decorate the car, so they waxed it. Crayoned it and chalked it and did everything else to it they could. Had to take the car down and get it washed the second time.
Where did you go on your honeymoon?
We went to San Francisco the first time, to the Mark Twain Hotel. any reservations, just kick one out. Mark Twain sounds interesting, so went to Mark Twain Hotel.
So what did you do on your honeymoon?
Unusual things. We learned a lot that night. But being away from home for the first time at night together. What do you mean, what did we do? What kind of a close-up was that? Boy. Went downstairs and got breakfast. I think it was about, spent $1.95 for two for breakfast, believe it or not. Then we went down the coast to Monterey, and down that way, Pismo Beach, Monterey Peninsula. Rode around Monterey, looked at the Canada area and all that stuff. Generally a good time. Coming home, our lights went out. Our trip. I was anxious to get back to the story. You know, TV work, radio work was piling up. So we, on the way home, our lights went out about in the bottom, and there was a motel right where that Young Brothers furniture store is. So we stopped there for the night. Came home, we found a rolling pin on the door, the TV shop where we were living, and had a big piece of wrapping paper, about 3 feet long. Everybody in town had signed it in on it, you know. And there's a picture up there somewhere. Wish I'd have saved that. You're still taking pictures and taking pictures.
So then what happened?
At McCain, Southend, lived in the back of the shop. We were going to rent a house from Matson's up on Woodward Avenue, and it was about $40 or $45 a month. Meantime, we bought this piece of land here, bare land, from George Moss for $2,500. It was 4 1/3 acres. Not a tree or a bush or anything on it. And decided to build our house. We started building our own house. Hey, we'll just live in the back of the shop for a while and save some dollars and put the money toward the foundation, etc. Lawrence Hoy's dad, Kay's father-in-law, came over and laid out the foundation, got it square with this transom and everything. Then we had Mr. Manuel Augustine come down with a bulldozer and somewhat get the ground ready. So we started digging trenches and pouring foundations, and then we got a couple of church brothers. One is a fellow that baptized me, and another friend were supposed to have been carpenters. Came down to put down the framing of the house and do stuff like that. And I went to Sears in San Francisco to change a skill saw. Was a very new thing. There were very few of them around. I think I paid about $150 for the first skill saw we got. And these two so-called carpenters managed to cut the cord in half about 3 times before they got this house framed up. Well, as we first had it bulldozed down and starting to lay out the backboards for the foundation. This is facing north. To the right, you see some elm trees around there. They wasn't around George Moss's property, or on Lil Lieber's property next door. And there we are, we're framed up. We did most of that ourselves, that bottom part. That's the sun. See, we should have really had this ground level, but we didn't know any different. That's Lil's house on the edge of it, you can see the edge. And we should have had that ground level first, but as you can see, it's about a 3-foot drop at one end of the house. Nothing at the other end. As was the thing in those days, having a flat roof, some architect had come out with the idea that flat roof was great. This is almost flat. And the siding is put on, the windows aren't in yet. And the septic tank, of course, wasn't put in yet. In fact, Virginia helped to put the septic tank in. We used some kind of a hoist thing, and we used the TV truck to lower it into the hole and everything. And did that just about the time Valerie came. The house was, I didn't live in when Valerie was born. So I was moving stuff up here just before she came in. There's on Valerie probably. Valerie was quite
What's about Valerie being born?
She was born in Vallejo and living at the shop at that time. And I think we were cooking up a steak for dinner or something like that. A Victor flying pan. And welcome Leah, because we got Virginia said here, so I think it's about time to go to the hospital. So we go over to Vallejo, we're going to the Kaiser Health Plan. There's Philip, cuddly baby, very cute, that'll work. There's little Philip, Patty? Yes. Okay. I can't make out too well, sort of. Was it? There's Coral, that's Tammy for sure. No doubt about that. She's really got a big blue now. What'd you say? And business was sort of about pattern. I think I made as much as 155 rest those days. And I guess maybe I didn't worry about these too much or something, I don't know. Certain business was always pretty gratifying. It's made good money. Certain amount of stays connected with it, I suppose. Didn't get to spend as much time with the family as I should have. Although we did always spend Sundays at church. Had these long vacations, it seems like. Going places in our trailer or Kaiser, station wagon or van or something. Trailer. Different things.
What made you decide to do rental business, be a landlord?
Well, that was the advice of my dad. I bought this place. He said, now you got 4 acres up there. I said, be sure you put some houses on that lower end there. I said, rent them out. That's the only way to.
Why didn't he do that?
He didn't do it. His mother would grandma wouldn't let him. He wanted to build on the ranch down there. He wanted me to put a TV shop on the Eli Road. He said, why don't you build your building down here in this corner of the land? You can have it. Maybe Frank can build a house in that end. You can build yours here. Put your business here. Build, you know. No, she was against it. I thought it was too far out or something. Now it's in the middle of town practically. Anyway, just a way to, because he had several pieces of property over in the old country. We had deeds to it and all that stuff, but we didn't pursue it or go after it when he passed away. Because we were advised of the trust more to go over there and look up these pieces of property and stuff. And he had, I'd say, 7 or 8 different properties over there, and an interest in his own house and other houses there. He must have had some experience with that over there before he came here, I suppose. But he suggested that, and then along came this opportunity to buy these surplus homes that were over in Vallejo for $402.50 each. The guy over there I was making out my application for this to get them. He said, why don't you buy a dozen of them? So I couldn't, I had to think, I want to get into that. So I bought 4. And by the time we got through putting them up, the Negro crew brought them over and set them up. And we had a contractor put the foundations in. And a lot of snafus were made here and there. It took a lot of headaches getting them going. And finally got them straightened out and going pretty well. And then along came an opportunity. I saw this duplex hauled up where Snowmajo's restaurant is down there now. They'd come up the river on barges. They were for sale for $1,200 a piece delivered to your property. So I bought those. Or one rather than put it down there. That was a much better deal. There was less money involved and it was more together. The others all came over in parts and panels. This was all ready to go pretty much to start letting them out for $40 to $50 a month. Never worked on them at all hardly. In fact, Ed Matisse put the foundation of the duplex down there. Then there was another time we spotted these buildings down at Kenilworth Park that were more surplus. I needed a warehouse for TVs. I thought I wanted to keep some old used TVs around and stuff I needed and parts and things. And so I bought one of those for a warehouse and put it out in the back, and then gradually I converted it to a duplex. Put in the plumbing and stuff. It's paid quite well. It's rental business. It's one way of having tax write-offs and still getting financial independence, and someday you can retire and it goes along quite well.
What's this all about?
That was a contest put on by PG&E. I guess it was a drawing, really, that we entered it, and our names got drawn for a free trip to Hawaii. Grandma and I went over in 1963 and spent a week in Hawaii. First time I'd ever played athletic in my life. Maybe second to first, I guess it was. So we met Ray from Ray's Maytag Service Center in Napa over there. We kind of palled around with him, had a good time. And Karen McClintock, I think hit the store, or maybe it was Annabelle.
Why don't you bring us up to date?
From what point in time? When I started having kids? When I sold the business?
Tell us about joining the church.
Joining the church, that was a traumatic situation. Very interesting. Since Grandma, or Virginia was a member, and so she said, no way unless you join too. So I got interested and started studying and joined the church, got baptized. Before we were married, of course.
Well, what effect did this have on your family, brother?
Well, we never did talk about it, frankly. We never talked about it, and the first that came to light at all was to anybody on the outside, I guess, that knew I wasn't Catholic, was that I got married to Virginia at home. I had more branch president, and that's the first that most of my Catholic people around knew about it, I guess.
Were they invited?
Well, my folks were at the wedding, and just a small party like that. And all my relatives were invited, yes. We got married to Pamela at Andy Hall's place on Keokuk Street. They went up to Santa Rosa to the chapel up there on Johnson and Beaver Street for the reception. And all of our relatives and friends were there, quite a few of them. We had sandwiches and stuff like that, and, had a good time. But came out in the paper that I was married outside the Catholic Church, and then Father Cowley got a hold of me on the mail and said, I'm sure you're not ever going to speak to your brother again, are you, because of this? She couldn't see that, and that was very small of him to say that. I have to explain that Father Cowley was the head priest of Pamela ever since I can remember. Back in the 20s, or before that, even he became the pastor of St. Vincent's College Church there in Petaluma. And that's where I went through all my high school and all that stuff, After the 6 years of Paran school, I went to St. Vincent's High School, or junior high and high school, which is the old building on Howard Street in Petaluma. Anyway, I never discussed this with my folks, but they knew that I wasn't going to church anymore. They assumed I was going with Virginia to her church. I'm sure everybody got the idea right. It would have been better if I had discussed it, I suppose, and talked it over with my folks rather than letting it go like that. But they weren't much to talk about church or religion or anything like that. My dad believed, I think, in church, and he would never go much as I was growing up. He would go at Christmas and Easter. That's about it, I guess. And once in a while, a Catholic priest that spoke Italian would come through on a mission, and my dad would go to confession then, and receive communion on Christmas or something like that. And my mom generally went quite often, but before Mabel got into St. Vincent's School, my mom didn't used to go to church every Sunday either, that I know of. But Mabel got us all going. She would come up from church on Sunday and spend the rest of the day reading the Bible or studying whatever in her room. I figured she was going to become a nun probably, or something like that, because Grandma didn't allow her to date very much. The only fellow she approved of and able to go on to date was Frank England. So Frank started coming around, and I guess they got married about 1940. He graduated from school in 1937. They did. I got out in 1940, and then it almost did me in. I had to be the best man at Frank and Mabel's wedding. That meant a good hour up on the altar, with all the Latin and stuff. It almost did me in because previous to this, I had been having trouble in church. I think it was hyperventilation or something. I panic and have to get out and run or die or something. Passed out a few times, and I said, wait, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in church. Catholic church. It was all in mind, I think. But anyway, I just didn't believe that. Candle smell bothered me, the incense bothered me. And see, to begin with, I connected church with something that wasn't too pleasant. Because when I was just a little kid growing up, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I remember going to church and stuff with my folks. And I remember crawling around on the floor amongst people's feet when I was 4 or 5 years old. This funeral mass would be going on, everybody would be crying, and incense and candles, all that stuff. And looking at dead bodies and all that stuff at the funeral parlors. In fact, that's part of life I just couldn't quite handle was death, I suppose. I remember when I was about Christina Capornio, lived down on Fallon Road. She passed away. She'd been sick and never been married. And I don't know if she had cancer or what it was, but she always laughingly said she tripped and fell into a gopher hole and hurt her leg or something. And she was laid up at home, and finally she passed away. And I remember going into her wake in this long row of trees. I don't know if you've ever been down there or not, but it's a good eighth of a mile, I guess, of trees on both sides of the road, very dark and spooky. So we drove out in our old car that night, and I hated to get out and close and open the gate for my folks, even it was that scary. Afraid of being picked up on a boogeyman or something. And one of my biggest scares in life I ever got was when I was about probably 11. They used to have boxing matches at Petaluma all the time. On Friday nights, I guess it was, down at the old American Legion Hall, which was down where the North Bay Federal Center is known as now. They had this what they called a smoker, and all the men would go to watch these boxing matches. And so the Howes were pretty much, Ernie Howe and Frank and his dad would go to those, and they stopped by and picked me up. And one night they left me off in front of our home on Eli Road. And I couldn't cross the road because a couple of cars were coming from north. And so I waited, and this last car that went by was a hearse, 1928 Chevrolet hearse, big black shiny thing, very ornate, and that scared the pants off of me. Out there in the middle of the night, moonless, dark night, and this hearse going by, and I remember running in and running up the steps and getting in the bed and not even undressing and shivering the rest of the night and scared. And I woke up the next morning and I was still in shock over that. I knew there was a dead body in it, and that scared the pants off me. So the next day I read the newspaper, and this fellow had had an accident at the intersection of Corona Road and Eli Road, and some car accident that killed him. And of course, the hearse came off Washington Street, went up and got the body and came back. And that's when this hearse that passed me, it really unnerved me for some reason. Anyway, this Catholic Church business, the incense and all the chanting and the Latin I couldn't understand, and it didn't do much for me. And being forced to go there every Friday afternoon for the Stations of the Cross at 3 o'clock till 4:30, whatever it was, just about had a belly full of it. And then there was some doubts about my mind down when I was in the hospital at UC, and I got to reading about evolution and stuff like that, and began to wonder about it all. And subsequently, I found that the Mormon Church made more sense. I became converted and said it was the right thing to do. But I didn't get real active in that. I still had a few doubts, I guess. So anyway, went along with this for several years, and then sold the business in 1969 or 70, I guess, the end of the year. Started to work on the rentals, and it's been that way ever since, repairing. And in the meantime, we picked up the ones in Petaluma and the house in Roanoke Park. And it seemed like there's always a project ahead, and now it's 1985, almost 1986. I have another project across the road, straighten up whenever the people move out. That'll be about the end of any active projects, I guess, unless we find some more to do. Maybe Philip will get into the real estate business.
When you were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
your parents always spoke Swiss at home.
Yes, we always did.
So how did you learn English?
Well, my mother spoke English, and I went to school, and Mabel always spoke English too. But my dad always spoke Swiss, and I did a lot of things with him. Like I said before, we'd go out hunting together and for jackrabbits. And he had kind of a trap line down the creek. He set out traps when there was a hole in it. And you'd get a squirrel or a muskrat or some darn thing in there. He'd made pretty good money at that out on the coast of the Salmon Creek Ranch. He had a trap line around the creeks and stuff. He'd catch badgers and different animals and skin them out and send the skins off to Sears Roebuck for money. 50 cents or $1 a pound, whatever it was in those days. Saved his money, he was very frugal. And I kind of wanted to do the same thing, and I enjoyed the outdoor type of life. I'd always be putting up a tent or something, or making believe I was down in the wood, or prospecting for gold. We had a BB gun, we had little gold-colored pellets, and I'd shoot them into a bag of mud or something, and I'd go prospecting, and there's the gold nugget, all that stuff. And that was before this polio thing came on, I was doing a lot of stuff like that. And a lot of energy to burn. I'd love to get on the creeks and wander around and dig in the dirt and mess around like that. Pretty much a loner because we had no real close friends there except the
Ernie Howe, and then the Mumpsons lived south of us. And they were kind of strange characters. And Charlie Mumpson spent most of his life in prison, San Quentin, etc. I believe right now he's in a wheelchair or something. He's had some kind of an accident. Lives in some old derelict hotel in Petaluma. And he used to do weird things like threw a can of oil into our well one time. And it was a well that we irrigated with. We had an alfalfa patch about 4 acres and each 3 acres. And the windmill in the south part of our property would pump water up this pipeline to irrigate that. And I remember oily water coming out of there into the alfalfa patch because he threw this gallon of oil into our well. And he'd always do things to antagonize my mother. Sort of strange growing up. And there was a guy kept matching with in the big old 2-story haunted house, corner of Eli Road, and across the street from Blue Church. And I'd get on the guys and get my hair cuts, and sometimes we'd yak so long, or he'd be late getting started, and I'd have to walk home in the dark, and I'd run all the way because I was scared of getting cars. And especially I had fear of going past a couple of poplar trees, which are still there. For some reason, I always figured somebody was hiding behind me to grab me, so I was going home in the dark. And I do remember the folks making illegal grub at home on top of the kitchen stove. We had what was called a crusty burner then, and it was an oil burning device you put inside the wood stove, and you put pressure into the tank, and the flame would come out kind of a jet and get the stove red hot. You had this copper boiler going on top, and you could smell the wine dregs. After they crushed wine in the basement, they'd have these ganache, they call them, or dregs left over. They'd boil them up, and had this copper tube coming out with water around it, catching this white lightning into it. Then they'd hear a car coming, and all turn the lights down, and hoping it wasn't somebody checking up on homemade brew, the still. I do remember that.
Well, it wasn't for sale.
No, mostly for own use. I guess they'd give it away, and my dad used to put cherries in there, and I'd go out and help him milk the cows in the cold winter morning. He'd give me 1 or 2 of these cherries to eat. Kind of warmed me up because it was high alcohol content. He'd drink a little bit of that. And we'd go out and proceed to milk the cows and feed the cows in the barn at 5 o'clock in the morning. Did some of that with it before the polio thing came on. Helped put the hay in every year and cut the wheat. We had wheat one year, we'd have wheat crop. Next year we'd have hay crop. Driving the horses to pull the hay to the barn. There was what they call a dairy fork. You planted the fork into this load of hay on the wagon, and pros would come in and grab onto the hay, and then he'd holler, and myself and my mother would be on the other end of the barn with a pulling rope going through it. We'd drive a horse about 50 or 60 feet and pull the hay up, and then he'd pull a rope to trim it, and I would drop the hay in the barn. Then we'd get up inside the barn, spread the hay around, and have it ready for the winter supply. It's like a 2-story barn, and with an opening up above. So it was a lot of fun. And we had a great orchard also, or vineyard rather, about a couple, 3 acres of grapes, which he'd raised. That was taken out before your time, but it was north of our place, facing the other road, also part of the land next to where we had the alfalfa patch. And in the fall we'd go out and cut grapes and put them in boxes and haul them in and put them into this big tank in the basement. The tank was about 8 by 8 feet square, about 4 feet deep, and my mom and dad and I would take our shoes off and get on the truck around the grapes. Another way, do the dance in there. Let the stuff ferment, and then drain off the wine and everything, and then like I said, the grapes make it to the alcohol for the grub or the white. High content, alcoholic content booze, which was used in moderation for snake bites.
What was that old barn for? Just for the cows?
We had cows in one end, a couple of horses. We milked the cows at about 12 stances in, I guess. And then we stored all the equipment and stuff, and then later. There was always a house in the blood of food house and stuff in there. Remember that? And what else is there to say? What else is there to
What
say?
advice do you have for those in your family who listen to this tape in the years to come?
Advice? Well, I think the whole thing is, I don't know what advice. The main thing is being happy, I suppose. You have to do all things in moderation, I suppose. Don't become a slave to your profession or business, and take time out to smell the roses and stuff. Try to keep your body in good shape as good as you can. Virginia probably has better advice than I do. She'll have to be on this tape too. If you're going to make any investments, do it while you're young. Because if you wait till this point in time, there's no point in legally out acquiring a bunch of real estate or other investments and just amassing a lot of stuff for the kids, which don't need it. I think you ought to start your investment program now, whether it be for rentals. Have a goal. Be sure you've got a goal. If you don't have a goal, there's no point in it. You just shoot off in 14 directions. It doesn't mean anything. You've got to stick to one thing, and I would say in your case that your profession is the goose that lays the golden egg. Do that in moderation and then take your other assets and